Today on the Tim Marner podcast show, we've got Ric Moylan, performance coach. Ric, how would you describe what you do, mate?
It's the $1 million question.
Yeah, because I know you work with like loads of different people, and you do a lot of mentoring and coaching for instructors, personal trainers, gyms, how to change the mindset and stuff like that, mate. How would you describe what you do?
It's been the question for years, and you know, you're the perfect person to answer this for me. But for many years, people, best friends, family would say, "What is it you do?" Yeah. And what I do is I help people look, think, and feel like an elite athlete.
Why? Where did that come from? Where did that shift come from? What's your original background then? Were you a personal trainer? What?
Yeah, I think like a lot of people, I as a kid, I just loved sport. I just wanted to play sport, and I liked football was the predominant sort of sport, but boxing as well. I often joke I used to block punches with my face was the sort of was the ongoing joke, you know. But I was just loved sport, and that was the pathway that I wanted as an athlete. And maybe we'll touch on why that didn't happen, but I just sort of gravitated to then. I had an interest in training and learning, so my qualifications sort of went that way. And I think like a lot of things in my life, I kind of just fell into being a trainer, and that was how it all originated. I started out as a personal trainer over 20 years ago, looking to help people, kind of figuring it out as I was going. I knew a little bit about training. I was super interested. I'd consider myself, some might disagree, but I'd consider myself a people person. So I've always liked being around people, and that was very much the start for me. So I was in a gym, on a gym floor, you know, busting around, chatting to people, trying to say hello. And back then the gyms were kind of very different to what they are now. They were kind of rows of treadmills and rows of, cardio kit, and kind of quite impersonal. I knew a little bit about training, so I would just go up to people and talk to them and say, hey Tim, nice to meet you, let's train. And it kind of all just went from there, really.
That's gone a bit like way of being, isn't it? That sort of, is it sales? It is sales, isn't it? Yeah. But you teach people that now, don't you?
Yeah.
How to up the game, the psychology of it all. Yep. Is that what you're more interested in now?
I still love sports science. I'm still very much a student of it. I love finding out about all areas of human performance. Yeah. I think our challenges now as humans, as people in life, whether that's money or the demands, social demands that we think are placed on us, you name it, I think it's tough. And I've just always liked helping people. And then outwardly, I'll often appear very confident. But going back to, what we just talked about, in terms of my career, my football, my sport, I've in the past had challenges with my own self-confidence and so forth like that. So I'm super interested in the physical side, let's say, but I'm really interested in what goes on up here.
Yeah, you can tell that. You can tell that where you're in. And this thing, we'll do shout out to our Charlie at Farmer Strong, but this thing you're doing with Charlie, what is that you're doing with Charlie to help businesses rewire the brain, change the pattern on what they should be charging? Because it's an hardening, isn't it, for people? Yeah. That relationship with money and what they should be charging. Yeah. Tell me a bit about that.
I help other coaches. There's two angles to my business, to my consultancy, let's say, which is one, working with members of the public, working on their physical and mental game. But then the second arm, which is our mate Charlie, is where I help my peers, and I help them to package what they do. A lot of people in the industry are really good at delivering results, but actually a sort of byproduct of that is they don't look after themselves so well, and one of the areas is price. They overwork and undercharge. So I've got a mentoring program of industry peers that I guide them. What I kind of say to them is I will help them steer their boat. They've got to row that boat, so they've got to put the work in, and I'm demanding of them. But the whole ethos is to help them, help as many people as possible, but still keep a quality of life for themselves. There's an irony there to ensure health professionals remain healthy, because often we kind of put ourselves last.
Yeah, you get wrapped up in it, don't you?
Yeah. And to charge what is what I believe is their worth. So that's what I do, and that's how I met Charlie, who's got a brilliant business, and here we are today.
Talk to me about worth then. And you say what they are worth. What does that mean?
Well, it's the health and fitness industry, particularly if I just look at it from a price point, it's fascinating. I suppose like anything with growth, sometimes you get, the more people that get into it, you kind of get increased competition, or another way of putting that can be dilution. And when I got into the industry over 20 years ago, all we ever did then was we worked to the hourly rate, and that was deemed success. If you had X amount of hours in your diary per week, back then I was charging £30 for an hour, and then I sort of got quite well known and got busy, so I kind of upped my price a little bit. But over 20 years ago, I was charging £40 for a personal training hour at that time. 20 odd years later, the industry in terms of price alone hasn't moved on. If anything, it's gone backwards. And there's a lot of trainers and coaches out there who I believe, and this is absolutely with no disrespect to them, what they do to try and get busy is compete on price. And what I try and work with my guys is delivering value and great results, great experience, not just in session, but the whole package in terms of ensuring that the client is looked after and they get what they're looking for. But then it's also structured in a way that that the coach can grow an actual business rather than working just to the hour like I used to do. And that would be, long 6 a.m. starts, 9-10 o'clock at night finishes. It would be super busy when we were super busy, but then summer holidays, what had happened to my income then? What had happened to my income over Christmas? So it's kind of bridging these gaps and building a real business rather than a business that's solely to the hourly rate, which has decreased. So that's value just on the price alone.
And what are most people struggling with, Rick? What is it? What are they struggling with? Like a small business mindset? Are they thinking they're not worth it? What's the?
I think a lot of trainers and coaches, they're really well trained, and they're students of training, nutrition, how to structure programs, all that kind of stuff. But it is those key. If we look at the title, personal trainer, and I don't mean the soft skills, because a lot of trainers and coaches are natural at speaking to people and hopefully making people feel welcome and all that kind of stuff. But then when it comes to asking for money, that's where the barrier is. And that is really common. I've been all over the country and beyond helping trainers and coaches, and many of them have a real barrier when it comes to
asking for money.
Hi, I'm Rick, here's what I charge.
Wow.
Yeah. Seems to be an industry trend.
Where's it come from, that, you think?
Couldn't tell you. I think like any industry, there's trends. And within health and fitness, the price point is dropping. But
there's a lot out there. I mean, I'll compare it to photography. Anybody can pick up a Sony A4, do one shoot, and now they're a professional photographer.
Yep.
And they're charging like peanuts, where these other, have been experienced for 20 odd years.
Yep.
You kind of and then they're dropping the charges to kind of meet that, and it's and around we go. Yep. So I totally understand that bit of it. But how does somebody change their mindset?
It's not always easy. We have to look at and
everybody's different, mate. Individual. Maybe there's a trauma attached to.
Absolutely. It's a great book, isn't it, Rich Dad Poor Dad, which sort of touches into
I've heard
that.
Of that.
And it doesn't give all the answers, but ultimately we've all got areas of strength, areas where we will back ourselves in a certain scenario, where we feel confident in a certain environment. And then we've all got areas of limitation, areas that we could benefit from some coaching and some support with. So with a lot of trainers and coaches, for us it's about not only the conversation and having the courage to have that conversation, but there's 2 or 3 small steps that we can put in place beforehand to sort of bridge or close the gap, should I say, between this huge conversation and the yes or no for money. So there's loads that we do, coaching them around how the conversation is going to play out, but understanding humans, understanding why a potential client may or may not find price an issue. But the main ethos is it's always based on integrity, and it's based on results. So it's based on you delivering a fantastic product, a great service, and that the client has a great time and gets the results they want.
If somebody just passed the personal training level 3 and now wants to become a personal trainer for the first time, do you work with people like that?
Not often, but we definitely.
How do you get somebody like that to know what to charge and how to? They've got no results really. They've got no experience per se. How does somebody start off by pricing?
My personal viewpoint is that they should go and work in a gym.
Yeah,
I think I started in a commercial gym. People might disagree with that, but commercial gyms do some good in-house training, and I think the biggest barrier with all of this is just communication.
Yeah.
And one of my favourite sayings, whoever it is I'm working with, is you get what you communicate. So being able to have a conversation, to look each other in the eye, we talked about that a bit off camera, didn't we? And it's a key skill, and it's a skill that's diminishing.
Yeah, yes.
So if we've got a disagreement, we'll there's many people that perhaps for reasons, but they'll walk past each other and then type it out, or we won't say hello in the street and say, oh, I've just saw, and send you a WhatsApp, oh, I've just seen you walk past me. So it's a diminishing skill to have a conversation, and that's why I believe a trainer or a coach starting out, it's that personal element. They've learned there's some skills on, muscles and biomechanics and, levers and joints and what's safe and what's not. But let's learn how to speak to people, and let's get ourselves into the psychology of the problems that our clients have and how we can help them solve those problems. And going on a gym floor and talking to people, getting to know people who you've never met before is and you've just done it. Trainers, coaches, loads of people, they're like, there's a brilliant book called The Flinch by Julian Smith, and I use that in my consultancy business. But
what's that? Tell me that.
It's all about that flinch response, and the metaphor is about
that runaway, flight mode.
Yeah, absolutely. And the metaphors it's based on the metaphor of getting punched in the face and the flinch of it. I do a charity tonight, which maybe we'll get into. Get all my fighters to read that and whatnot. But one of Julian Smith's, it's free on Google. That, by the way, you can download it. Take an hour to read. I'm pretty sure one of the challenges in that book is to go and speak to somebody that you don't know.
Yeah.
And when you get past it, and everybody can and is able to get past it, when you realise that it's just a story you're building up inside your head. Yeah. That person over there is just cracking on, going about their day. Once you broke it, it's a game changer. And then
I did that when I first started out in my business. What I used to do to train myself was I used to start conversations with people in supermarkets and the cashiers, and I'd always start conversations all the time just to get better at starting conversations. So I totally get that. It's just so hard for people right now, because most of their interactions on the phone, for them to lift their eyes up. Eye contact is such a big thing for kids these days and
Yep.
get starting out. It's so I totally get all that, mate.
Yep.
I didn't realise you were going to say that. I was going to be honest with you.
Yeah. So we get loads of newly qualifieds approaching us, and what I'll normally do is I'll give them some advice,
Yeah.
and I'll give them sort of 4 or 5 key steps and,
Yeah.
and key things to work with.
Yeah.
Say, achieve these, stay in touch. We have an account on Instagram. We give loads of free advice week in, week out. Get cracking, learn, get your stripes on your shoulder, and stay in touch. And then once you've got going, we'll work with them after that.
And what do you recommend these people are charging? Is it different each time for each individual person?
Yeah,
Because it's such a tough one, isn't it? Starting out, right, okay, what should I charge? You instantly look at everybody else, what are they charging? How do you know what to charge, Rick?
Yeah, commercial gyms often will fix their price points for them, and that's a challenge. But then after that, it's all about creating a vision of your life and what you value in life, and obviously some people value materialistic things, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's absolutely okay. For other people, the vision of what a successful, happy life looks like is, location freedom or time freedom. The ability to not have to be in one place at one time.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where we work from. In terms of how you want your perfect week to look, how you want to structure your life. What do you want your life to look like in a month, in 3 months, in a year? And we may take a path which is cool, because I'm a big fan of failure, because it doesn't exist. We may take a path whereby after walking that path a little bit, we go, oh, actually, not for me this.
Yeah.
Well, then that's okay. We're not a tree. We can move direction and move on to something else. So it may be that it's all about money and being super busy initially, particularly with people who say that they want to buy their own house or this, that, the other. Or I want my own gym is the classic one. And we really dig into why they want their own gym. It's an enlightening sort of phase for them. It's an enlightening thing, because what owning your own premises and business, as you know, looks like is it's tough. Yeah. It's paying wages and paying bills and getting in first and going on last and all that kind of stuff. So each person, going back to what you said before, each person's individual, each person's different. But I kind of to sort of quantify it, it's not for me to give them the answers. I ask the questions and they find the answers. I'll try and guide them, but
That's what true mentor does, mate, doesn't it? Is a guide.
Yeah.
Like you said, they're rowing the boat, you're just like helping them navigate the path.
Yeah, I don't always get it right.
Yeah.
But certainly come from the right place, and I try to help them in the right way. Be that an arm around the shoulder, be that a bit of a kick up the backside every now and then.
The accountability side of it.
Exactly that. But integrity is huge, and that's something I will not bend on. Is that it's about putting the client first. That's been the same in sport and in life. Putting the client first and making sure they're happy, making sure they're getting...
and they're not being treated just like a number,
absolutely.
Another number on a spreadsheet.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Personal trainer. Personal.
People get that wrong, mate, don't they, a lot?
Absolutely.
And you see it.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
You're not a number on my bottom line. You matter, and you as a person matters. And there's an irony to that, is that if I get you what you want and help you to go where you want to go and to be who you want to be and all those things, you will be my greatest marketing tool. So I'm all about that. Integrity is huge. You have to look after your clients and do the right thing and be the right thing, definitely.
Do people understand what that actually means to do that? Do they... It's so deep, that, isn't it? Understanding how to do that properly. That's like a certain amount of excellence that comes, that everything needs to be, the fine details, everything. How do you teach someone that who's never been able to do that before? Going that, I know it sounds a bit cliche, going the extra mile.
Yeah.
And people just say it, but they don't understand what that actually means, going the extra mile.
It's inconveniencing yourself. It's sometimes making sacrifices, personal sacrifices, family sacrifices. It doesn't always have to be that way. And as I say, we try and work towards that perfect week.
Yeah.
But
sometimes there's call for it, isn't there?
Absolutely. And so, I work in sport quite a lot, and there's obviously certain things can and can't say.
Yeah.
Work with a lot of well-known people, and it's great when you see the winning trophies and winning belts and all those kind of things. But athletes are in many ways superhuman, but in many ways they're just like every single one of us, and they have times when they need a shoulder to cry on, or they need advice and guidance, and their moments of need may come at awkward times for you. But when you sign up to a kind of life of service, you've got to be there to help them.
A life of service.
Yeah,
Love that.
Yeah, and it's sometimes crisis management.
Yeah.
They may be having a real, crisis of confidence, or some sort of issue going on within their structure, whether that is sport or whether that is business or whoever it is I'm working with. Fundamentally, the challenges are very different, but actually, from a emotional level and a physiological level, they're exactly the same. Stress is stress. Challenges are challenges. Confidence is confidence, or lack of. So, it's understanding that, of course, in an ideal world, when it gets to Friday at 5 p.m, it's switch off time. But equally, if we commit to our clients and we commit to helping people, that life of service can be a bit out of hours sometimes.
Do you get a real sense of fulfillment doing what you're doing, working with other coaches and stuff, and help watching them blossom? What's the balance, the ratio of working with? I don't know if you can say it just because people are like, oh, you like that better than this, but I can see it when you do. You light up, make me talk about it. And like I said, Charlie said so many nice things about you, Rick, and you really have helped change his perspective on things. It's amazing when you see it, and he's putting more classes on. He's got this cool WhatsApp group going on and stuff, mate. And you see the community growing, and you're just like, fucking hell.
Yeah. Well, he's got a calling, and he's realising that now. He's got a calling to get out there and help lots of people, because he can help lots of people. And I you know what, kind of at the risk of sounding a bit cheesy, I just like helping people. I always have. That said, I expect people to work hard, and work ethic is it's part of my key sort of values. And I'll be tough, and I have to manage my frustrations when work ethic doesn't always appear with certain people that I'm surrounded by in my working life. But
can you see that in people, that the work ethic, is that attached to them, that personal training is not their calling, not their purpose, where they've just chosen it for?
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of people get into personal training and coaching because they like training and coaching, and that is fundamentally a mistake.
Yeah.
A lot of people say to me, I'm thinking of becoming a personal trainer or a coach, or performance coach. And I say, oh, brilliant, okay, do you like training? I say, yeah. I say, don't do that then. Because if your driver is because you just solely love training, then that's not the main motivator, because that's only one piece of the jigsaw. So it's understanding that there is an awful lot more to it, in terms of, like you say, building community, sacrificing time. But when people get it, and when you see them making a difference to other people's lives, I find that super rewarding. And I love to see people fulfilling their talent. Yeah, I really do. It gives me a buzz.
So these mentoring ships that you do, how does somebody get in touch with you to get on one of them?
So social media is usually the way for everybody now, isn't it? I've got a website.
So what is it, a consultancy? How do you sort of package that with somebody? What is it? How do you package that up?
It's so in terms of the mentoring, it's a 2-phase program. We have an online phase, and then that's where, particularly when trainers have sort of if they'll approach us and they're newly qualified, we might give them those 5 key steps. If they come back to us, say, hey, Rick, I've done these, let's go. We'll put them into the online coaching program where we've got a full platform of learning, digital learning that they can work through in their own time. And then what we'll do is we'll go through some key metrics, some key questions. We'll formulate a 90-day plan with them, and we'll work to that 90-day plan. Every Friday, we're on Zoom calls whereby we'll go through a key element of coaching, a key element of business training, a key element of mindset training, whatever that looks like. Or it will kind of be, actually, no, today it's over to you. What have you done since last week? Let's have
a look.
Yeah, let's go through what you've done. Here's what you said you were going to do. Have you done that? So that's kind of how we start. They'll get to a certain point and we can accelerate them through quickly. And then if we believe that the time is right for them, we then have the second program, which is what we call our boardroom. And then that is very much a mastermind that every month they're bolted into, still into all the online stuff, but every month then we sit them round a table with industry peers, friends, and they have to get up. They kind of ask key questions. They've got to get up and sort of stand there and face the music if that may be the case. But it's again answering key questions. Here's what I've done, presenting where they're up to, and being critiqued essentially on all areas of their business, not only by me, but by their friends, their industry peers around them. Why are you doing that? What's your rationale for that? How's this working? And we're kind of sense checking that they're making decisions that are right for the clients, that are right for the business, because the business has got to make money. Can't help people if we're not making a living. And all that kind of stuff, and it's a super productive day. So that's kind of how that arm of my mentoring, consultancy and business works.
So let me go back. I'll just give you an example. I'm a personal trainer, just full qualified now, right? And I'm got my own gym at home. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm going to you, Rick. I need to come up with like a CRM system. I want a platform that can manage all my clients and stuff like that.
Yep.
What would you say?
The first thing we'd look at is the structure of the business. How do they operate? So again, are they working to the hour? Are they working to a small group system? How does the client journey process? So for you, Tim, how does that journey? Because the client journey starts before the client gets in touch. The client journey, as you know better than I do, it starts when that piece of content catches your eye and you think, and you'll watch it, and then maybe it just passes you by, or you may see that banner that flyer, or someone might mention you, I've got this, this person that I work with, nice person. And again, it passes you by, and that's the start of your client journey. And again, some people are already working with somebody else, or some people are further along that path, that they're ready to make that decision and they're ready to make them changes in their life, whereas others it'll just sort of marinate through the brain and sit there for a while.
Have you got to this thinking you? Because it's right, but is that just through experience? Have you just been reading loads of books? What's the... Are you analysing everything? Are you sort of and asking, reflecting?
It's a bit of a curse sometimes.
I know, get you mean, because I'm driving past fucking shops going, there's an apostrophe on that fucking site. I'm just my God, just let it go.
Absolutely.
Menus at restaurants, I'm just like,
absolutely. So we put a client menu into place. That's one of the things we call it. But how many restaurants you go into that just sell steak and chips? And if they only sold steak and chips, then that's a problem. But that's what trainers and coaches do. I sell hours. I sell steak and chips. Going back to your question, this is all I've ever done. So you get qualifications, of course, but you learn. You learn what works well, what doesn't. But I think one of my key principles, for whether I'm mentoring or whether I'm working with athletes or whether I'm working in corporate, because I do a lot of corporate coaching, keynotes, all that kind of stuff. One of my big principles is what I call being a student of your game. And it's just understanding that,
like a white belt mentality kind of thing.
So I remember being a kid, and I've done martial arts all my life, and done, had times when I've done well with it, and then, as a young teenager, you get sidetracked by whatever and all that kind of stuff. But I remember as a young kid, and I'll never forget this, I've told 1,000 people this in 1,000 different places. The sort of traditional martial arts that I was doing at that time, which I'm ironically back doing now with my son, we do it together. We'd passed our grade at the time, and I was a yellow belt, and I was probably about 8 or 9 year old at the time. So you kind of from sort of left to right in rank order as you're receiving your belts. So, I'm down on the left side as a young kid, sort of lowly yellow belt, but feeling great. I've passed me one of my first gradings and all that. And as you work your way across the line, you've got the black belts down the other end of the room, and to me they're like ninja, samurai down there. They are like wow, and you sort of bow, pay, get your respect, get given your belt, this, that, the other, and the sensei and instructors are working their way along the line, and they get to the people who were being awarded their black belts, and they bow and congratulate them, and they award them their black belt, and they said the instructor said to them, "Congratulations, you're now ready to begin learning martial arts." Ooh. And I'll never forget that, because my perception was black belt, made it, as a young kid, journey over, that's it. Their journey was just beginning, and that was where I coined this phrase of being a student of your game, because there's no ceiling to your learning. I learn every day from newly qualified trainers and coaches. I learn every day from anyone that crosses my path, and the day I don't, then that is a real reflection day for me, because there's something going wrong then for me.
Beautiful that, mate, innit? That white belt, in order to be everything, you ought to be got to be nothing.
Yeah. I think a lot of the philosophies that I have come across and my belief systems are actually from martial arts. I believe martial arts would change society. If we put martial arts in schools now, I think it would have such a positive effect. Whatever that may be, boxing, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, whatever. Put that in schools, I think it would.
Discipline, respect.
All of that. Yeah. All of that. Mindfulness. Communication. Coaching. Help, because you learn to help people along. You learn when to be a bit tough with people, when not. So I've certainly taken, and I'm certainly not Bruce Lee by any stretch of the imagination, but and my son's doing it now, but he's doing it off his own back, which I'm obviously super happy about, and I'll support him as best as I can. But equally, that's something that, and you can see the change in him, not just from a physical change. He's lost weight, his posture's improved, but he's you can see his self-esteem's changed, his confidence, his self-efficacy, everything about him, and that all those learnings that he's getting from we've got brilliant coaches where we're lucky enough to go to. I'm not his coach, I stay out of the way, I'm dad, and you can see he's bringing them skills into other areas of his life.
So let me just go back to the question of, I'm a personal trainer, okay? I'm training most people at home, I'm doing an hourly rate. Is that the right thing to do?
That can be absolutely the right thing to do for you. It can absolutely be the right thing to do. You've got a little gym at home. Depends what you want. I think it's being clear on what your vision is, and if you've got a sum of money that you want to earn.
So when you say vision, what does that vision mean, Rick? What is it? Because I think a lot of people get mixed up with what a vision and what a goal is, and they reach the goal, and then they're just like, fucking hell, that was my vision, I've accomplished it. What the fuck do we do now? I mean, good. Let's go to Tyson Fury. Got his vision. Belts, and I'm just like, right, what the fuck do we do now? Next thing you know, he's fucking. So how does someone decipher what the vision and what a goal is?
For us, what we look at is we look at the kind of facts of it. If we look at the key sort of facts and metrics. What do you want your life to look like? So if you're a parent with a couple of young children, what does life look like for you? Life looks like school runs. Life looks like bath times. Life looks that's the the day-to-day of what life is.
Yeah.
And then we'll look at, okay, let's stay with the day-to-day. The hard facts are, how much money do you need to earn to give you and your family the lifestyle that you want? And that lifestyle might be a very simple lifestyle, and I mean that respectfully.
Yeah.
But it could be, you enjoy going to the park on a weekend, for argument's sake, and so that's a life that requires this amount of money. But what you want is boundaries, structure, foundations in place. There's so many coaches and trainers that will leave the industry and we'll look at why they're leaving, and they'll say, well, I was working hours that I was missing my kids' bedtime. No wonder you've left the industry then, because you actually, what you valued most was your kids' bedtime, and you could have structured your diary in a way, you could have put things in place whereby...
But because I've got such a scarcity mindset...
That's right, yeah.
Then I'm like, I know I need to do this or else I'm going to lose this client.
That's right. When the reality is, and going back to what we talked about before, if Tim, you approached me and said, Rick, can we do 7 p.m. on Wednesday? And I said, well, hey Tim, I finish at this time, finish at 6, because what I do is I've got 2 young children and I want to be there to get them ready.
No problem, Rick.
For bath
Totally
time.
Understand.
There you go.
Yeah.
But people will often avoid that courageous conversation.
They'll avoid because they're thinking, no, I'm going to go to someone else.
Yeah, so Tim's not going to be happy. Whereas Tim would be super cool if you just spoke to him. So
amazing skill sets, mate, aren't they?
Yeah.
So simple, but like it scares the living daylights out of people, doesn't it?
Yeah, but if you're working in a way or in a structure that doesn't suit what your core values in life are, eventually it'll lead to conflict. It always will. So that's what we boil it down to. If you're working in a structure, let's say, where you've got to be the primary financial earner within your household for whatever reason, well, okay, that's fine, but let's be clear on what that financial target is, and then let's be clear on what your packages are, and then we're clear on how many of those packages we need to sell per week, per month, to make sure that we can pay our bills.
Sick, Rick. Because nobody's going to get that anywhere else, are they? They don't teach on that on a personal training course.
Don't teach it. But
this is the most important. Boundaries. Fucking boundaries.
Yeah.
Like fucking boundaries, man. Come on.
And just communicate that. Okay, I'm not going to do Sundays because on a Sunday, we go to the park as a family. 99 times out of 100, the client will be like, oh, that's great, lovely. Okay, well, look, I'll move something.
I've got 2 kids.
Yeah. I'll move something around and, actually I can do Friday now. And I forget who it was. I wouldn't be able to name him anyway, but I forget who it was. But there was somebody within our programme that for literally years, was working like a Sunday morning at like 9 o'clock, hated it. Eventually, it reached a boiling point. It kind of exploded with the client, and the client turned around and said, well, I hate Sundays. I've only ever done Sundays with you because I thought you like Sundays. And it's just this thing of you just communicate, just talk, just have that courageous conversation. Just I nearly said something that I probably shouldn't have said, but find something and go and have the conversation. Definitely.
So I've got 2 kids, like you said. I'm the only breadwinner.
Yeah.
Love taking my kids to things. Kids are sort of like my life. I've got a little place that I'm training. Not sorting my packages out. What should I charge hourly? What does that look like, Rick? What sort of questions are you asking that person?
One of the biggest barriers and limiting beliefs is for coaches is why they work one-to-one.
Yeah.
Why does it have to be one-to-one? And what they'll find is that they put a story in place that actually hasn't come from the client. Or my client's like an exclusive environment. Well, I can't tell you how many people go to the gym now to meet friends, to have a social element, to have community. Accountability and community are the 2 key things of building a business, are the 2 key things of coaching. Of course, we'll work on mindset and beliefs and training energy systems, but I can't tell you the last time, Tim, somebody came to me and said, what I'd like to do is improve my lactic acid, my tolerance to lactic acid. I would like to, get my lactic acid buffer in to improve. Even pro athletes don't do that. Pro athletes are like, yeah, I hate training, but I want to win fights. Okay, let's focus on what winning fights looks like. Well, that means that we've got to do this. Okay, great. And actually, what most people come to us with is that, they want to, they want to work on their self-confidence. They want to work on their self-esteem. They want to be a little bit happy with who they are in the mirror and how they feel about themselves. The way that we get there, actually, more often than not, people enjoy it more if they've got a friend to train with. And the fact that makes it a little bit financially more capable for most people is even better. And actually, the trainer can earn a little bit more there as well. So it's a win-win for everybody. So the one-to-one model, it has a place, definitely. If you want to do one-to-ones, fine. But often when we really get into it, and I've met many trainers and coaches who've said to me, I only do one-to-ones. And then when we really get into it, they've ended up with really successful group training businesses and they've helped a ton more people. What
is the group thing then? Is group 2 or more? Would you say that's 2 or more?
Yeah, 2 to many. Obviously price will change with that, but with that you've got to have structure. It's a different style.
So it was me, I could say to this person, no, we're doing one-to-one, but I think it'd be really cool if you train with this other person on your same wavelength. How do you feel about training together?
Yeah. People like people like themselves, don't they? You've got something in common.
Yeah.
We like football, for argument's sake.
Yeah.
When we're there talking, doing our push-ups or whatever we're doing, that hurts, and the reality is that we've got stresses on and we're probably a bit tired or whatever. We're not going to be talking. We might say, tell us about where this is working and why. The reality is we'll be more interested in talking about how the game went at the weekend if we like football, and before you know it, then the time passes, the session's passed. The irony is you've trained a bit harder, you've got into a bit of a flow state, and again it's a win-win.
Have you got a go-to for this person we've just made up, for trainerised true coach, something where they can manage all the clients and the calendars and stuff like that? What would you say to that person?
From a business perspective, there's a couple of booking systems that we encourage all of the trainers and coaches to use, but then there is absolutely there's 2 or 3, like you've just mentioned, Trainerise, True Coach is good, and there's
Everfit,
PT Distinctions, one that quite a few of the guys use, but there's some really good digital support systems out there. Again, a client that it's ironic, isn't it? A client I've worked with for a long time. I'm a busy professional. I go into hotels a lot. I'm in a gym. I don't know what I'm doing in a gym. I'm like, when was the last time you logged in the app? Well, a while ago. I was like, well, maybe go and do that. And obviously, we laugh and joke about it because the we are in a world now where I don't need to sit and write pen and paper things out anymore for 100 people. I can literally put something together. There's tons of digital support out there.
What's the go-to for you? What's the one that you kind of recommend over other ones?
I think for personal trainers, I think the one that seems to function really well for the trainer, but more importantly for the client, is the one called PT Distinction.
PT Distinction.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I use
What's the reason for that? It's got like a nice desktop. It's got an app with it. Can you brand that up yourself into your own?
All of those things. There's one called Kahunas, which is good as well. Great name, but does all the things that you've said. The primary goal is it easy for the client to use?
Right.
Is it easy?
So you can sign the consent form in it.
Yeah.
Boom.
Is functionality easy? One thing that clients, whether that's lifestyle now or for whatever reason, clients, and again, this challenges the one-to-one model. Why do we sell an hour? Why not 59 minutes? Why not 61 minutes? Why do we sell an hour? Because actually, a lot of clients, when you communicate with them, are actually quite time-starved. They've got a lot on. And what they're looking for is a solution that they can, jump in and out of Impact, I worked with a major gym chain, I won't name, and they were hemorrhaging members. And one of the key feedbacks was, well, it wasn't actually in terms of the feedback because they'd never asked, but if you looked at the data, is their class attendance numbers were horrific, and all their classes were an hour. I said, well, have you tried half an hour? You're in a central location, so you put a shower. Most people are going to want a shower, or at least to freshen up after it.
Yeah.
Most people get an hour for lunch. I can't change the fact that companies give their staff an hour for lunch. But if I've got an hour for my lunch and the class is an hour and it's 5-minute walk to get there and then I need a quick shower at the back end of it, that just doesn't work. People won't come in late. They can't come in late because that's the rules and you've got to warm up and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
People don't want to leave early. People don't want to be that person that leaves early. So what they'll do is just avoid, and then they'll end up leaving because it's ultimately not giving people a solution to their problems. Whereas if we ask them, and it was unbelievable the difference that 30-minute classes have made.
The person charging for the hour, is that an hour of total workout? Because, like, say again, we come back to our personal trainer with a private gym at home, charging for the hour. Obviously, there's 15 minutes before and 15 minutes after. How do you manage that? Are you charging for the hour, or
we don't charge for the hour where possible? We charge for a package per month, per week, and per month. Because, like you say, there might be a bit of time at the end of the session where we
so you say that to most people? Look, don't charge for hour. Charge
Absolutely.
Packages.
Charge people don't buy. When you look at the psychology of people don't buy based on price.
Yeah.
They buy based on perceived value.
So what would you recommend for that person? What would you recommend them to do? Put what?
Create 2 or 3 packages.
Yeah.
At different price points.
Yeah.
An entry-level price point, a mid-level price point, and a higher level price point, which the price point reflects contact time.
Yeah.
Have a tribe, Starbucks stand outside still and give you little coffees, to give you a little taste. People still, some places I believe have stopped it, but people still test drive cars. So a little taster test driver package before. There's non-committal, but that's your chance to wow them, that's your chance to impress, get them into your community. And then 2 or 3 price points where they pay monthly. That includes some training time, but also some what we call support time. And that might be digital support, that might be some conversational support.
Yeah.
But that then means that you've got a quantifiable business. You can run some financial projections because they're important. You can look at trends in your finances. You can look at if marketing's working. If you do a campaign, does it increase sign-ups onto that front-end offer package? Does it increase sign-ups into your memberships? Yeah. You might think your marketing package is brilliant, but is it resonating with the client? Does the client look at that and think, I want to join this person? So it's always to monthly, and we try and avoid the hourly rate. It's not sustainable. It's not a sustainable business. If you look at legal, which was the classic hourly rate, wasn't it? And they still charge expensively by the hour, but legal will often look to try and retain you if it's a long ongoing case, because that works well for the business and it's given in a way that it saves the client some money.
What would that entry level package look like? 3 personal training. Go on, just give me.
So if you look at say £40 a week, 4-week month, so 160 a month. That's 4 training sessions per week. So you've got 4 hours of coached time with a coach, and then outside of that you've got to do your own thing. Okay. Where trainers go wrong is they don't then charge for that support time, whether that's programming, answering questions, digital support, all that kind of stuff. Resentment kicks in. They're then doing as they get busier, they're doing a ton of work they're not paid for. Then standards start to slip, and so the negative cycle begins. Clients start to get a bit disillusioned. Where's my program, Tim? You promised it me for Monday. It's now Wednesday. Tim's going, well, actually, I'm doing this for free. Da-da-da-da-da. and so the negative cycle continues. £160 a month, you can join one of our small group packages. Within that, there's 3 coaching hours a week in a small group where you'll meet some friends, get motivated, get the occasional kick up the arse from like-minded people. It also includes digital programming, access to the app, access to the community, where we'll answer your questions on our calls twice a week. For the same price of 160 quid, you get 12 hours of contact time, you get to meet loads of friends, you're far more likely to get results, and you'll enjoy your experience within our team. Give them a t-shirt. People love a t-shirt. They love to be part of things. They love identity. You talk about Tyson Fury. Yeah. That's where Tyson Fury is at. Fascinated by the program at the moment.
Yeah, one on Netflix.
Yeah, because his whole identity. It's not about winning things. It's about the identity of Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King. People love to be part of something
bigger than themselves.
Yeah.
And that's what this is all about, is it not? For most people, most gyms, so they feel part of something bigger themselves.
Absolutely.
Which is what community really is.
And if you look at events, Tough Mudder, all that kind of stuff, look at the global success, which has gone absolutely unbelievable, of High Rocks.
Yeah.
Leaderboards, community, bit of a challenge. People love that. A few trophies. It's unbelievable what people will do for a £3 medal.
How do people get in touch with you, Ric, from a coaching standpoint? Are they message you on Instagram now and say, look, Ric, I really like what you're about? Because I 100% recommend everybody, if you're a coach, you've got your own gym, to jump on one of your mentoring programs, mate.
At Ric Moylan, RICMOYLAN. Same website, ric@ricmoylan.co.uk, and I'll personally reply to everyone that I get. I always do.
How much does something like this, a mentoring program, cost for you, mate?
So it starts at $150 a month.
Yeah.
So it starts at a similar price point to
what you should be charged as an entry level.
What we'd encourage our coaches to start as an entry level. That's why we've positioned it that way.
Yeah.
So absolutely. We as I say, we don't row the boat for you, but we honestly believe we help and we support, and
it's just the knowledge, mate, isn't it? Just like you just saying that now, just totally changed my mind on how people should be doing it. It's
and it's just experience and it's understanding people, that what people are looking for.
Yeah.
What people are looking for is friendship. Maslow, 1943, I think it was, the old research, the hierarchy of needs. People want friendship, community. Look at the lockdown that we've just been through the last 2-3 years, how challenging that was for people.
Yeah.
Isolation. Companies are now realising that getting people back in the office is the best thing. It's the best thing, not just for bottom line, finances, results, figures, but in terms of staff well-being. People like to be around friends. They like to talk and interact. So look at the changing demographic of offices now. I mean, we're sat in this super cool workspace here. 20 years ago, they wouldn't have had pool tables and co-working spaces and all that kind of stuff. But that is the environment to create the best out of people. So it's often being around people.
And do you do talks as well, or do you have to be part of your mentoring program to come on one of your talks, or how does that work?
Yeah, so true to my roots and everything that we've talked about, I want to try and help as many people as possible. I help my industry peers, but I want to help members of the public. Of course, I love sport. I love working with athletes, and going back to your original question, what do you do? The challenge that I faced was that people would often think, oh, Ric only works with elite athletes, and that's absolutely not true. That was an area I had to work on and take responsibility for. I love sport, and I've worked with the military and all kinds of different challenging environments, but I go into companies. I do lots of work going into companies, working from the top down and from the ground up, doing talks, doing coaching programs. But then equally, I run my own coaching program, MAPS, which is anybody can sign up to, and it's based on the same ethos of working on body, working on mind, community. We go out walking. We were in, like everyone is now, which is great to see. We're doing all kinds of mad stuff like jumping in cold water and all that kind of stuff, and we're going down to this really cool gym quite soon, all my gang, this really cool gym called Farmer Strong, and we're all going to train down.
Sick, mate.
We're all going to train down there quite soon. So yeah, and I mean,
it's good, mate, because I can tell you love it. You know what I mean?
I love it. Every day's a Saturday. I love it. I like people, and I like even when people challenge you. It's cool. The challenges are good.
Yeah,
that's just a mental reframe. When someone's being a what towards you, well, maybe you're just having a bad day. It's not personal. And I'm not perfect, of course.
Yeah.
Get involved in road rage occasionally and all that kind of stuff, which I shouldn't do. Yeah. And I teach people not to do. None of us are perfect.
But it's catching yourself in that moment.
It's exactly that.
Isn't it?
It's exactly that. And I do some crazy stuff now on my talks and seminars. We do all fire walking and getting people walking barefoot on broken glass, and it's all about testing their fears and limiting beliefs. But yeah, I love it. I'm a student of this. I'm a student of the game. Definitely still learning, always. But yeah, trying my best to help people.
Mate, appreciate your time. Appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you and the message that you're sending out. Mate, everybody go and follow Ric, personal trainer, coach. You want to up your game, go and sign on one of Ric's programs. Thanks for listening, everybody. Goodbye.